Hey, what's up everybody? It's Josh KI6NAZ. Today I have another radio that deserves a bit longer look. Today we're looking at the Kenwood TS480. Let's check it out. Big thank you, as always, to Ham Radio Outlet for making this possible, providing this loaner radio for review. If you enjoy these radios, please hit subscribe. I do stream every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So one of the reasons I started looking at the TS480 is that I've been looking at putting an HF mobile radio in my car. And you might be thinking, well, you already have a Yaesu FT891. Isn't that also a good mobile? It is, but under some recommendations, I decided to check out the TS480. The TS480 is an all-band, HF-only radio. In fact, there's two models. There's the SAT model, which is a 100-watt transmitter with a tuner built in. The HX model is a 200-watt radio, no tuner. This radio is what you would call a remotable HF radio or a remotable radio, where the head unit is separated from the main body via cables, and so you can hide the main body somewhere away, like in your car, under a desk, or something like that. This radio falls right in the mobile category, and it also works as a small shack kind of radio where you can hide it away and you can have the head unit on your table, giving you a really nice look without any kind of clutter or anything like that. So I do my review in three parts: what I like, what I didn't like, and would I buy it. So let's get started. First off, what I like most, among other things, is this is a 2-antenna radio. It has inputs for 2 antennas, which on an entry-level radio, which this fits about in that ballpark range of price, is a really good option. So you can have multiple antennas if you're running like a screwdriver, or maybe you're running two ham sticks, for example, on 2 separate bands. You can switch between 40 and 20, for example. Like, that's what I would probably do. This also has a head unit that is very nice. It's very well laid out. Kenwood is always of a high quality, and this is no exception. The head unit is control based off of touch buttons and a couple of dials. There is a flat menu system. So oftentimes, let me back this up a bit, oftentimes you will have radios kind of like the FT891 where there are scant controls on the screen and you have to go into a menu to pull other things out, like a noise reducer. In this case of the Kenwood, there's a button on the face that you click, and then you can use the dial in some cases to get to where you want to be. The screen or the face of the Kenwood has single press, multi-press, or long press, and then it also functions as a keypad for when you're manually entering frequencies. I like that in a mobile application, and I definitely like that on a desktop radio. So, pretty cool radio so far. A little more on the aesthetics. The VFO knob is on the small side, but it is nicely weighted and has what feels like a metal insert in it, and it feels good. All in all, feels really good. Great thing about this radio is it's meant to be remoted, therefore it comes with the bases for the faceplate in the box. You get an oval base plate if you're operating from a desk, and there's another one that's kind of D-shaped that you would use on your dashboard if you're using some kind of adhesive to stick the Kenwood in a mobile application, which I think is a very good thing. The size of the face plate unit is roughly the same size of the KX2, and when I started playing around with the radio, I got real big flashbacks to the KS2 because the operation of the radio is pretty similar. So if you are a KX2 enthusiast, this radio might be good to look at because the controls are very similar if you like that kind of thing. The advantage of the Kenwood is it has a bit more real estate, so you get a bit more distinct buttons that are laid out in a more logical sense, I feel, because you have more space. Now, I am reviewing the SAT model, which is the 100-watt with the internal tuner, which is great to have in a base or an entry-level radio. So I think that's a good option. The HX model does not come with the tuner, but you get 200 watts of output, and I thought that was great. Billy Bob told me at the HRO that he loved having the HX because he could basically use his screwdriver antenna using the tune button that's on the TS480 to find exactly where the antenna was resonant for the bands that he wanted to operate, and then had a full 200 watts at his disposal. While the HX model has a 200 watt output, no tuner, making it a good option for a mobile. However, very important caveat, it requires 41 amps of draw from your power supply so that you can put out those 200 watts. Of course, you're not likely going to be pulling that much at all times, but it is important to know that if you're going to be running it in a shack, you're likely going to need 2 power supplies or something pretty beefy to handle that load. As far as standard radio controls that you would expect to see, this has a noise reducer, an attenuator, and a preamp. This is a DSP radio, so it is mainly analog parts. It's a little older, but not so old like an 857 or something along those lines, but it is a bit older. That's why it's kind of on sale. You're seeing it on sale right now at HRO, so it's a pretty good deal considering the price and what you can get for both. The HX is a bit more expensive, though. Because this is designed to be remoted out of the box, you have a couple of different options and functionalities in terms of audio. The speaker is actually in the head unit, and it does a passable job considering it is a small little unit. The speaker is on the smaller side.
This is KD6OEN, clear and back listening.
However, there is a headphone jack on the face unit, and then there is an external speaker jack on the base of the radio. I have it connected to an MFJ, clear tone speaker, one of those really cheap ones. Sounds great, right off the base station. So I recommend going that route if you're going to mobile this or put this on your desktop. Nice to have a secondary speaker that's going to sound a little bit better.
Dwayne, give it one more shot. Let me see if I catch over here. Oh, well, I'll move to... what thing leaving $1 short or something?
And again, giving points to Kenwood, knowing what product they're putting out. Every cable that comes with the radio is extra long, including the mic cable. Extra long, giving you lots of distance if you need to put that base station, stuff it somewhere underneath a seat or whatever in your car. So that was very smart, very nicely done, and all the cabling is very well made, good quality. A point of note for those that buy this radio, it comes with a VFO friction slider, that little nub that's sometimes under the VFO dials of radios. When I pulled it out of the box, it was all the way on to its most friction-based setting. So keep that in mind. It gets much looser if you crack that all the way to the left. I am a loose VFO type guy, so I made sure I put that all the way over. So just know when you open the box. And I'll leave you with the last good before we go with the rest of the review. This radio has the capability of internet remoting the face unit from the main unit. Janet, the manager at HRO, was telling me there's a customer of theirs lives in Japan where they have the head unit and the internet capable box that connects to it, and the base station is in Torrance, California, where it is connected to the internet via the other side of that box. That is fantastic. It is a base entry-level radio. The capability of spending a little bit more money and getting that capability to remote the unit like you would with a much more expensive radio like a Flex. Very cool technology. So, what are the bad? Well, this radio doesn't have a notch filter, which I find interesting because this is a radio designed for mobile, and there are still some instances where a car engine, an alternator, the ignition wiring is going to create some notches along the band. So having a notch filter would be a handy thing, but maybe it came down to just didn't have the space to put in the radio, and the cost probably made it prohibitive to add. Now, this is more of a nit than anything. I think if you're getting this radio, you're going to look into this kind of stuff. The base station itself is very large. It's much larger than that of the FT891. So if you need a small main body, this might not be the radio for you. Just keep that in mind when you're going to think about placing it in your car. If you're in a small car, who knows? Just make sure you look into it first. Billy Bob ran this for years in a smart car before he upgraded to the 7300, which he crammed in there. So you definitely can make it work. Just keep that in mind. This is just a personal nit of mine, and it's not that big a deal. I don't really like the mic, the look of it. Something about it gives me a Tomorrowland from Disneyland type vibe before they remodeled the whole thing back in the early 90s and 80s. I know, very specific, but not a fan. It's no big deal, though. It works fine. I was able to make a ton of contacts with it. People said I sounded fine, so no big deal. Your mileage will vary, of course. All right, so the coveted would I buy it question. Yes, I would buy this. In fact, I'm very seriously thinking of selling my FT891 to pick up the TS480HX and putting it in my car. I do have an EV, and I'm wondering what that will do to my battery, and I'm not talking about the drive battery, but the battery in the car. It's not very big, so I have a feeling that will drain that battery very quickly, and I will be in big trouble. So with all that said, my application would be in a mobile type situation, and that faceplate being the size it is, it's smaller than you expect it to be, has all the controls that you'd want at your fingertips without having to dial into a menu, which I think is great, particularly for mobile. It's designed for mobile, and I think it does a good job, or will do a good job in that area. Looking online, as I do when I'm thinking about looking at radios when I'm at HRO, I saw this one and I see that there is a very deep following for this radio. People say they not only own one, but I saw people that own 3 or more, maybe an SAT and an HX and maybe a backup, I don't know, but there is a very loyal following to this radio. It has been out for a little while, so if you want the latest and greatest, this might not be the radio for you, but I enjoyed the audio quality, particularly when I connected it to an external speaker, which is what I would do in a mobile application anyway, and everything about it kind of just fits that niche where I want to be with a mobile radio. So definitely I would buy it. It is a recommendation from me. I think the price is right now where it is on sale in a lot of different places online. As always, please check out the link to the HRO in the description if you'd like to learn more. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick radio review of the Kenwood TS480 SAT with a bit of a shout out to the HX as well. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already, and click that bell because I do live stream every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I've been trying to splash in some more random streams, and the best way to find out about that is if you're notified. That's why the bell's there, so please click it. Guys, I am Josh, KI6NAZ. Give me a comment down below. Do you own a TS480? Do you own 3, 8, 12? The sky's the limit. Tell me in the description what you like about it. And if you didn't like the radio or you don't like the radio, tell me why. Post in the description. I'd like to hear it. We got a Facebook group, got a Discord, got all the things, and all the links are in the description. A great community that we're trying to build to breed inclusivity back into radio. It is welcoming, and we hope you come. If you have any questions, our door's open, and we're ready to take it. Okay, guys? I'm Josh again. Take it easy.
Go on a 30-day fast. If I had to advise all the world's leaders, I don't care the religion or their background or how smart